Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. My name is Marv Fox Jr., and this is Become the Podcast. We're listening to the sounds of Shaka Khan. I'm at home today, and there is a ice day. It's too slick. Not a snow day, but an ice day. So the Ann Arbor Public School System canceled school. So all my kids are at home, which I have 3. I'm in the blue room with Simon. So I'll always let you know when Simon's with me. So if you hear a lot of racket going on in the background, it's probably him throwing Legos and just throwing plastic around. So I had an interesting conversation with a former student of mine. I teach at Eastern, and I was in the weight room, and we bumped into one another. And so immediately I said, "How many years of school you got left?" He says, "I got one more semester. I'll be graduating spring of 2018. So I said, "Well, what do you have lined up?" He says, "Nothing." I said, "Do you have an internship?" He says, "Nah, I don't have an internship." I said, "What's your major?" He says, "Criminal justice." And so I'm thinking you should probably get an internship because that might lead to some opportunities, down the line. So anyway, after we got done talking, he says, "I'm thinking about going back to my old high school and helping rebuild the football program." Now, this guy did not play football beyond high school. So one of my go-tos when someone gives me information that kind of shakes me or sets off an alarm is I give people unsolicited advice. So you don't have to ask for this advice. It's just coming at you, right? And I got to do a better job of knowing when to give people my opinion versus when not. But anyway, I immediately started giving him some advice, but he seemed very receptive to it. So the title of this podcast is Things to Consider After Graduation. Things to consider after college graduation. All right. So I'm going to give you the 3 points of contact that I gave him. I actually gave him 2 points of contact, and the last one is kind of a throw-in, but let's get into it. Point of contact number 1. Selfishness is underrated. Being selfish is underrated. Selflessness, all right, or giving of yourself is overrated. If you're coming out of college, you need to learn how to take care of yourself first, right? There's so much you have to learn. You now have 4 to 5 years of knowledge, or maybe even more than that, all depending on how long it took you to graduate. And it takes you a while to figure out who you are, considering all these experiences you had in college, whether you stayed on campus or off campus, whether you commuted from home, whether you went to community college, or whether you went to a 4-year institution. I mean, it doesn't matter. It takes you a while to recalibrate yourself and figure out what is life like with a degree, with this amount of knowledge, with this specialized knowledge or skill set. Who am I considering what I just experienced, right? So that takes a lot of taking care of yourself and thinking about yourself and focusing on yourself. But a lot of times kids graduate, they get a job. Maybe it's a great job, maybe it's an okay job, or maybe it's part-time work. It's just something to transition. It's a transitional situation for you, right? And then they feel like they've arrived, or maybe people make them feel like they've arrived, right? And so sometimes in that situation, those kids now want to give back. They want to give their time up. They want to donate their time and give up their time and things of that nature. And I know it sounds good on paper. It sounds really, really good on paper, but it's necessary for you to really focus in on yourself, right? So that's the first point of contact. Take care of yourself. You've been in school for 4 to 5 years. You should be all about figuring out, who am I with this degree? Who am I 4 to 5 years later after getting my degree? Who am I? College is expensive. So now you've been basically going in debt for the last 4 or 5 years. You're lucky if you can come out with just a little bit of debt or none at all. But you should be trying to reestablish yourself financially, or establishing yourself financially, right? That should be your mode. Don't worry about the holidays and birthdays. Don't worry about giving people's presents. Just focus on you. Be selfish for a little bit. So you can figure out, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? How can I maximize my opportunity? How can I maximize the degree? How can I maximize the last 4 or 5 years I was in college? Like I said, if it took you longer than that, how can I maximize what I just experienced and turn it into something that is productive? So that takes some being selfish. And I know you're saying, well, no, Marv, you should be able to give and do it at the same time. No. There are certain moments in life where you have to be focused on yourself, and you can't give up all your time and give up yourself, because you are the primary focal point. And until you figure you out on multiple levels, then from there you can now start to give. So now we'll talk about the next point of contact, which is give with the long game in mind. Give with the long game in mind. Kids are encouraged to give, right? You have a whole bunch of people while you're in college who have done great work, and they're giving back to their community. They're donating their time. They're volunteering, right? People encourage you to give, but not a lot of people educate you on how to give, right? So my man says, I want to go back and help my high school and develop my program. I say, how about this? Instead of giving your time to the football program, why don't you give your time to the company that you want to work for? As I said, my man had nothing lined up. Nothing lined up. He didn't have an internship. He's in criminal justice. So I assume he wants to do something in that sector of professionalism. Like, he wants to go into criminal justice. I don't know if he wants to be a detective or a police officer or whatever. But if you don't have anything lined up, you got to figure out, how can I get into this industry? How can I be a part of this fabric of the workforce? So you may need to now you need to give some time. Now you need to show somebody, hey, this is what I'm capable of. You go to somebody and say, listen, this is my how, why, and what. This is why I'm here. This is how I can help. And this is what I can provide. And this is what I want in return. And it might require you volunteering. So maybe you got a part-time job, but then you spend the rest of your time volunteering. You come up with some sort of framework framework for what you can commit to. I can commit to 6 hours a week. 6 hours a week on these days. I'll be on time. I'll be consistent. Can I volunteer for you? Again, if you don't have anything lined up, or if there's a company that you want to work for, instead of giving your time to the nonprofit, instead of giving your time to your high school or whatever, give your time to the people that you want to work for. Okay, and listen, let me work for you for a week. I'll work for you for a week, and if you like what I do, then we can come up with an agreement, and I'll be here for 6 months, giving you 6 hours a week of my time. And that's when you get a chance to build your network. You get a chance to build up your skill set. You get a chance to get more comfortable in the field. You get a chance to figure out if you really like the field. You get a chance to see, man, do I really like criminal justice? Maybe I don't like criminal justice. There's so many benefits to volunteering. And again, if you're being selfish and you're keeping you're spending most of your time if you're giving to yourself in that selfish period, then you're not so extended, right? Doing this, that, and the third for the family. Now, all your time is basically dedicated to you. All your resources and money are dedicated to you, right? And so maybe if you have a part-time job and you're not giving all your money away to family and friends and all that other stuff, you keep that all your stuff to yourself. Now you can work a part-time job and still volunteer and give somebody 6 hours of your time. Or maybe you got one of those jobs where you're not working, 25 hours a week, but you're close to 40. So you're working close to part-time, or maybe you have a part-time job. But in the midst of that, you can still find opportunities to volunteer your time. Maybe you can only volunteer on the weekends, right? But it's easy to do that when you're making sure that I'm taking care of me first. I'm going to take care of me probably for the next 4 or 5 years until I figure some things out. Until I really get an understanding of what I'm going to do with this degree. All right? Or what I'm not going to do with that degree. So when it comes to giving, if you want to give to some sort of program or some sort of nonprofit, here's the thing you got to think about. What are you going to get in return? Right? If you want to volunteer, if you want to give something, what do you want to get back in return? So if I'm volunteering for a company, we already know I'm going to get networking opportunities. I'm going to get skill building opportunities. I'm going to get an opportunity to showcase my work ethic, right? But let's say I want to give to a nonprofit. Okay, cool. If you have a program, do you want to start a nonprofit? Do you have some sort of program you want to beta test? Okay, work with those people and see if you can capture the moment. See if you can capture the testimonies from the people who you've worked with. See if you can capture the footage. See if you can use that footage as a promotional tool. But you should not be giving your time, effort, and ability, and you're getting absolutely nothing in return unless your bank account says it's okay to. There are some times when I came out of college, I wanted to do so much stuff in Detroit. I wanted to give back to Detroit, and I was broke. So now I'm not only am I working for free, but now I'm doing this program, I'm doing this basketball camp, and I can't capture it at all. I live in Ann Arbor. So I'm working in Detroit, and then these kids are not going to come to my camp in Detroit. But I'm here working in Detroit, not capturing anything, not getting any testimonies, not getting anything in return. And so although it's a nice gesture, a lot of it just doesn't benefit me in the long term. Now, man, yeah, obviously I got some reps in, but at the young age that I was, I need to be trying to figure out how can I leverage this opportunity for me in the long run. So now, when you start thinking about how you're going to give your time, ask yourself, is it opportunity to showcase my work ethic, or is it an opportunity for me to use what I've created, some curriculum, some program or whatever, or can I take this moment and capture it and then use it for my benefit down the line? So again, if you all set, money-wise, financial-wise, opportunities all set, now you can afford to give for the sake of giving. But you need to make sure that when you give for a long-term gain. The last thing is your degree does not define your genius level talent. If your degree does not fit your genius level talent or your passion, abandon it and keep searching for your purpose. Your degree will help you at some point. Your degree is a part of your journey. At some point, you're going to be 10, 20 years down the line. It's something that you learned in school, something that you learned from your degree, the people that you met while you were pursuing your degree. Somehow that degree is going to help you in some way. Okay? But if you're not gifted in that area, one, or two, if you're not passionate about it, what's the point of pursuing it? Sometimes people some people who went to school for education and are educators, they'll convince you need to, exercise your degree. Okay, well, sometimes there's people who go to college for this, get the degree, and realize, I hate doing this. And then they'll tell you otherwise. They'll tell you, listen, you got the degree. The degree shows that you can learn, that you can be trained. Figure out what you're good at. Do that. You can do more good for people having found your genius level talent, your passion, your purpose 10 years down the line than jumping into a career that you loathe and hate, that doesn't inspire you, that doesn't motivate you, that doesn't accentuate your highest, or your genius level talent, your passion, and you just making money. Yeah, you making money. Yeah, you working. Now, if you're cool with that, that's fine. If you're cool with it, that's fine. But if you think like there's something missing, then keep searching. Keep searching. It's okay, man. It's okay. If you graduate when you're 25, and you become rich when you're 35, you ain't gonna be upset about what you didn't do 10 years ago. You're gonna be happy that you figured it out when you're 35. If you figure out when you're 45, it's a 20-year difference, but at the same time, you're still gonna be excited. Like, I finally figured it out. So 3 points of contact. 3 points of contact before this time runs out. Selflessness is overrated. Being selfish is underrated. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Point of contact number 2, give with the long game in mind. Make sure you're getting back something for your giving, all right? It's okay. It's okay. It may sound bad, but make sure you're getting something in return. And the last thing is, your degree does not define your genius level talent. If your degree isn't working for you, abandon it and start figuring out, how can I use my genius level talent? What is my genius level talent, and what is my passion? And how can I use that to improve the lives of others? Things to think about after college. Done.